morning and welcome to Dear Life After. And I am Roslyn Long, your host. Listen, I'm so glad you decided to join us on today because guess what? We have a very special guest and I'm so super excited. Are you excited? Well, you already know the drill. Go ahead and tag a friend, text a friend, tweet a friend, and have them to come and join us here at Dear Life After. And guess what? Y'all can join us on YouTube now. Yes, join Dear Life After on YouTube. Listen, hello, hello. Yep, it's that time. So we don't want to waste time because this is a hot topic. And some of y'all not ready. Is this a man's world? Well, come on, we're going to talk about it with Patrick Wallace. Hello, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, hey.
Good.
I'm not going to complain. I have another chance, and some people don't get a second chance. And so
True.
we're here.
True.
So, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll,
And
we'll
those
talk
that
about
get the second chance, sometimes we appreciate it.
it. Right. Absolutely, absolutely. So, we're going to talk about, is this a man's world? Is it?
Uh, well, I mean, the popular opinion would still say that it is or look at it to be that way, but I disagree. I think women are at the forefront now, and I'm joining with them, and
All right.
that's why, yeah, I created a brand and it was for the uplifting of women. It's called I'm Every Woman. We have skincare products, we have clothing, we have books. This book right here is out right now. It's for the upliftment and empowerment of women, and that's where I'm standing right now. And that's what my mission is. Like I say, it's probably not going to be popular with a lot of friends or with a lot of male my counterparts, but that's okay. So, that's where I'm standing and that's where I'm going. So, I mean, they'll follow suit sooner or later because they have to, you
They
know.
have to.
Well, sure. I,
What
I
what
mean,
is what inspired you to want to stand for for women?
because I was raised by them. You see, many, I mean, my entire family was raised by single mom. And I watched my mom, my aunts, my grandma. I watched all of them raise us, and they taught us to be men. We didn't have our fathers. We knew our fathers, but they were not present in our life. And so this is my way of saying, hey, I remember, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and I'm standing with you right now. So that's where that brand actually came from. It gave birth. It came from that. You know.
So, and I think that's and then and obviously since I'm a woman, I think that's amazing because I do know that there are so many, like you said, there are so many single parent homes where the woman is having to lead in business. You have women who are leading,
Mm-hmm.
but what do you say to that person, whether it's a man or woman that says, hey, well, that's kind of like out of order, so to speak. It states that, the man is supposed to be the head of the household and this, that, and the other. So what do you kind of say to that?
Uh, I mean, I think that it should be respect. The level of respect should be on both ends, the male and the female. As far as the man being head of household, I believe that the household doesn't even work without the woman's touch, in the first place. I mean, that's the way I look at it because, again, I've seen throughout the years, I've seen women actually be the ones that's really holding it down, and men, we look at things uh, in the sense of if we're providers, if we're paying for this, or if we're doing that, then we automatically run everything. You know, I mean, it's not supposed to be looked at. You know, I think that it's a joint venture. You know, it's give and take on both sides. It's compromise. It's painful at times. You know, I mean, but that's all part of the process. You know, and so for a man to actually if you really respect a girl, to me, if you really respect women, then you can take a back seat sometimes too. You don't have to lead in every aspect. You don't have to, you know, you should listen more than you should talk sometimes. You know, that's where I come from with that. And I think we can learn a lot from women if we just watch. And that's what I've been doing over the years. And I took my time. I didn't rush into anything. I made sure it was coming from the right place when I started this, and that's where I am with it right now.
That's amazing. So with your organization, I'm Every Woman,
Yeah.
what actually all do you do? How do you in support of, women being leaders? How does that
Um,
how does that look?
well, what that looks like right now, I mean, we're new. We're at the beginning stages, and but we're moving forward. I mean, uh, what that looks like is every month we profile women from all walks of life. You don't have to be rich, you don't have to be poor, you can be a, you know, we just cover everything, and we honor a woman every month. You know, she could be a stay-home mom, she could be a CEO, she can be, you know, whatever. We just show appreciation and profile a different person every month. And on the business side of it, we have skincare products. It's all natural. We have clothing. We have and our best seller here is this body butter right here. Is really, 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 really good. And not to say that the other products aren't, because they're all natural, but that right there is just changing everything right now.
Okay.
You know, if I can say that, you know, I mean, we're not claiming to be the best. We're not claiming, we just claiming to be who we are, and we stand on that. And that's what we're doing right now, you know. And so again, the book is out. It's on Amazon. This profiles different women from all walks of life also, you know.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's what we're doing right now. We're really pushing this forward.
So are you catching a lot of flack from, let's say, your homeboys because you saying I'm standing firm on women being
Right.
leaders, that women are making it happen.
uh you know, my friends, they are inspired as well. However, there are those out there that, you know, and they look again, like yesterday I had a comment from a guy online, and he said, oh, if this is I'm Every Woman, why isn't the founder a woman? Why isn't it ran by women? Why isn't it this? And I mean, I didn't at first, you know, I thought he through what he was saying, but I told him I just happen to be a man, you know, and so is any other man that started things for women. I mean, Ralph Lauren's a man, but he has women products, you know, so on and so forth. You know, I mean, you
Right.
don't have to be a woman to start a female ran company. But my goal is that one day I can step back and just let females just take over this whole situation, and I listen. You know, this is not, these are my ideas, you know, but I listen to feedback. I get inspiration from friends of mine. I have great friends, women friends, you know, that we grew up with, that's in different fields. Some are business owners, some are in real estate, some are in entertainment, you know, and I'm very proud of all of them. Shout out to Luana Patterson and Sean. Shout out to Khadijah Kareem. Shout out to all my girlfriends who are really, really living out here, and I'm very proud of them. Shout out to you too, Roslyn. And
Thank you.
I mean, I'm just really, really proud of you guys, and I'm there with you.
And and I think that's amazing because I think so often that sometimes men are intimidated uh, by a woman who is, but this is the one thing: being a leader, being in leadership, is something that is within you. It's not something that you choose.
Sure.
It chose you. It chose me. So I didn't choose to be. I didn't choose to be this strong person, this person who can lead. That's not what. That's not. This is what God put in me.
Hmm.
So it's not like I woke up and say, "Oh, I'm gonna try to be this."
Right.
Oh, it's just it's in you. It was born in you.
Hmm.
He instilled the ability, the things that are needed, the tough skin. He knew that even though there were going to be some tiring days, some crying nights, that those were things that still that he built me to be able to endure.
Sure. Sure.
Versus, there are people who, they're going to always be, as my aunt was saying on yesterday, they're always going to be meek and mild, so they can't handle certain things.
Hmm.
Those are
Hmm.
not people who are built to be leaders, so to speak, to be out
Sure.
front, to be, vocal in things. Uh,
Hmm.
so when man is going to recognize and support that's amazing. And not be
Hmm.
intimidated by, you know, well, hey, she's just trying to, run something. Well,
Hmm.
God
Hmm.
built me to
Hmm.
run something, you know?
Right. Right. Sure. And I think you have to respect that because I mean, let me use my girl as an example. Michelle Smith, we call her Purple Penny, and she's got a very, very big following. A lot of men wouldn't even be able to handle that. When me and her step out, we go to the grocery store. We went to Jamaica recently, and some people over there were screaming at her from, oh, very Smith Purple, and everywhere we go. But I got her back. When
Right.
she's standing on stage, I'm standing right there behind her. Not jealous, not envious, not any of that, because I'm so proud of her, because that's what I represent is that type of situation. And the intimidation that you just spoke of, I see that insecurity in a lot of my friends, those that you were speaking of a few minutes ago. They can't handle a woman being out front, or having any type of voice for that matter. They want the old school view of it, where I mean, come on now. But yeah, I'm very proud of her and all of our friends that are doing things. You include. I mean, you guys are doing exactly what I'm standing for. So I mean, that's beautiful to me.
So, and when you talk about, seeing women, do things, I think about, when I think about the women, in my life, think about my grandmother, my aunt, my mom, them, being in corporate America, and even just like say in family life, and being who they needed to be, to raise a family, and put the morals and teach you the things that you need to be a young lady, to be a respectful woman, and things like that. And so then you have the man or the people that are offended. So those men that are intimidated by that, like, so if you end up, so let's say one of your friends end up with one of those guys, like, how do you think, what's your advice on how to handle that? Because why do you think they're intimidated by um, a woman being in leadership, being strong, and doing things like that in life?
Well, from what I have seen, is it. they they just can't handle a woman. Uh, how can I say this without they don't want the woman out front. They don't want anybody that overshadows them. They don't want anybody that takes away that they think is taken away from them when really, I mean, if you got a partner like that and you guys are equally yoked and you're balanced like that, she's actually adding to you, not taking anything away from you, you know, and men can't handle that a lot of times. And so that's the biggest part of it. Yeah, I mean, that's from what I've seen, you
Is
know,
that
and
ego?
well, more or less, you know, ego is always going to play the part, and you know, especially with a man, you know, it's hard to say, but so easy at the same time. You know, men can't handle you guys. They can't handle you. The strong woman, a strong woman like that, men can't handle that. Most men, you know.
And I think that's it's really disheartening because, like you said, a lot of women, now women are doing it. They're making it happen, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
And so often I think that the thing that's missed is, if she can make it happen and that's your mate, then that's her making it happen for the both of you.
Hmm.
So rather than
Hmm.
be intimidated by it, there should be a way to be able to cultivate, to be able to understand, and to be able to support and know what you need to do to be able to handle that type of person. Because
Hmm.
just as if, okay, so I'm a strong woman, I'm a leader, so I'm leading in business. That doesn't take me away from being, in my personal life, being there to be beside you and to support you.
Hmm. Hmm.
That doesn't negate the fact that, okay, me is, as a man would say, knowing my place. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna go somewhere and I'm gonna embarrass you because I'm a leader. Because
Hmm.
even though I'm a leader, if we're together, if this is not a setting of, I'm being recognized, or it's one of those types of situations, that I'm gonna merely be, I'm your mate. So at this point, I'm your wife, I'm your whomever. At
Hmm.
that point, I'm not the leader.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think that's where men miss it, is that, you know, a strong woman, a leader, didn't become that person without knowing how to know at what point in time on how to handle herself.
Hmm. Hmm.
Some people,
And
go ahead.
no, you go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, I
I'm
think.
listening.
see, see that, and that's the thing. A lot of men, they don't want to listen because they're too intimidated about what we have to say as a strong woman, because we have
Hmm.
views. I can tell you about a woman. I can't necessarily tell you about a man because I'm a
Hmm.
I'm a woman. So
And
I can't
that's
tell
the
you.
go ahead. I want to hear that
Yeah,
part.
so I can't tell you about a man. That's
Hmm.
when I have to listen, because Patrick is a man. So then Patrick can
Hmm.
tell me, okay, well, how is that from a man's perspective? Because like I
Hmm.
said, most men think this is a man's work.
Right. And see, that's what made it so interesting when we were growing up, because, like I say, we were raised by single moms. So everything was looked at from a woman's perspective, but they actually, at the same time, if this makes sense, taught us how to be men, you know, and you know, if that makes sense. And so I have, it wasn't until later on in life that I actually had to, as far as finding myself as a man, I had to find it, take those steps on my own, and where I fell short at, that's how I learned. God, if God wasn't there with me through all those steps, then there's no telling how I would have turned out. But I mean, men don't want to listen to women. They're not going to listen. A lot of them, they'll pretend to listen, but they're not listening. You know, so I mean, that's just through my experience. I'm not saying it's everybody's. I'm just saying that's been mine. So I make it a point to listen more than I talk. I mean, because throughout the year, now I'm guilty. Throughout the years, I wouldn't listen either at first. Let's be clear. I'm not perfect. I wasn't listening either. But life made me listen. God changed me, not not anything else. It's just how it happened. So I started listening more. And if you listen more, then you can kind of connect with the person that you're dealing with if you listen more, and those that's around you too. I'd rather hear your opinion first and then I'll give mine. But if yours is better than mine, then we can roll with yours. I mean, a lot of men can't do that.
Yeah. So why do you think it is that they can't do that? I mean, outside of the fact that and I know a lot of people will say that, okay, if you were raised by a woman, that there's only so much a woman can teach a man.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, and yeah, absolutely, because actually, because I'm a woman, so there are certain things that obviously I can't teach a son, that I can't teach him.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, life will
Mm-hmm.
teach you. So
Mm-hmm.
whether that's in a good way or a bad way, life is going to teach us all some things sometimes. Um,
If we're
but
willing to learn. Some people don't heed to what they've been taught. They don't take heed to that. But uh, that's just what it is. Today is changing though, and the people that can't see that change, I mean, you should be embracing, whatever the women that you're around, be it your mate or whoever, support them, embrace them, help them come up, help them move forward. Don't try to keep them in a box or keep them in their place so you can feel better about yourself. You see, and that it's a lot of that too. You know.
it is a lot of that. And why
Yeah.
is that? Why do you think that is from a man's perspective? Why do you think that is?
Again, ego, like you stated earlier. I mean, the man, for some reason, wants to feel like that they're always in control or should be in control when and they'll go find reason. They, like you mentioned earlier, you mentioned the head of the household and stuff like that, and then they'll really get religious on you and go try to find scripture to back it up, and they'll try to do this or they'll try to, how I go. And so I mean, they'll come up with all the reasons to remain shallow, that because that's what I think it is. You can't grow if you don't listen. I mean, we have to live in this world. And again, I'm watching and I'm watching the importance. And now I realize the importance of women this whole time, this whole time. And you guys didn't ever get any credit for anything that's going on in this world, anything. It's all been like you said at first, a man's world. That's the statement. That's the narrative. That's how it's been looked at. And really it's not. It's really not. It's really you guys that actually make it turn out here, in the house, in corporate America, in raising kids. I mean, again, my mom, my these are all single moms that raised us, and we turned out some pretty good men, I think. Me and my brothers and my cousins, we all turned out pretty decent, and none of our dads raised us. I mean, the mistakes were made, but that's just life anyway. Regardless of whether you had a single mom, a two-parent household, regardless, you live life and you make the mistakes that bring you into who you are now. So I mean, that's I just happen to have I just look to women because that's where my inspiration came from. And so that's just what it is, and that's what I represent right now.
And I think I like that word too when you said your inspiration.
Hmm.
So a woman, inspiring you to do something. And I think that that's kind of where some men maybe, where they miss the mark.
Hmm. Yeah, I've been criticized. I'm telling you, I because I have a woman's brand. There's no male product in it. Where's the men? Where's the stuff for men? I get all this different stuff. Hey, that's not what I'm dealing with right now. I'm dealing with I'm every woman. And that's what I'm dealing with. Maybe it'll be something that comes along for men, but I'm not trying. I'm staying right here. I'm staying where I am, and that's how I'm moving forward. And anything, the branches on the tree or anything God tells me to do, that's what I'm going to do. That's going to be the next move. But this is where He put me, and this is where I'm staying. And that's what's going on with me right now. I try not to speak for anyone else. I try not. I listen to them. I listen to men too when they talk. I listen to them to see where they're coming from, to see if it's really some substance in there, or are you just talking, or you just throwing things out there trying to see if I agree with them, and hey, I let to each his own. I let everybody do, you know, what they do, so I
Right.
do what I do, you know. It's an individual thing, but I'm looking to bring some people with me.
Right, because inspiring women and understanding that it's okay for the woman to be out front and not worry about if you feel like you're in control, so to speak. Because some men would look at that and say, well, that means that uh, you know they're that's they're feeling intimidated for
Hmm.
one
Hmm.
because they want to be in control, so to speak. There's
That's the
nothing
whole.
wrong with
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean that you're less of a man
Hmm.
because your woman is out in the forefront.
Hmm. But that's how they feel. They can't handle the woman being out in the forefront. They just can't handle that. And that's a real issue for most men. I'm not saying all men, and I'm not a male basher either. Let's be clear, because I am a man, and I just know what I've seen. Women have been underserved. You know, they don't they don't they don't get the respect that men do. They never have, still don't. In a lot of areas, some will pretend that they respect women when they don't. I've seen them say these things around women, and then when they're not around them, then it's something different, and that goes on both sides. Let's just be real. However, I just for me again, I'll just speak for myself. Uh, I champion women. Women raised me, but I'm all man. But women raised me, and I respect them. I respect them more today than ever. And I mean, we see all these different movements going on. All that's a long time coming. Do I say everybody that all of them was right, or but victims are victims, the true victims, the ones that's not, whatever their reason is, it'll be exposed to, But I mean, that's just where I'm standing right
Right,
now. And anybody else, I don't ask for people to stand with me. If you feeling it and you real with it and it resonates with you, then that's when you can stand with me. If you have any other reasons or alternatives to stand with, I prefer that you stand somewhere else, because that's what I'm doing. And I want genuine people. I want authentic people. I want anybody who can see what I see, and that's where I am with that.
Right. Absolutely. 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 And so we just want to kind of clarify for our audience that we're talking about, from a man's perspective. We're not talking about necessarily marriage. We're talking about life,
Mm-hmm.
uh, in regards to men and women and different things. Yeah, does that come into play? And sometimes, if it's in a relationship, in a marriage, and things like that, absolutely. Uh, but overall, I mean, obviously, this is a vision, that God gave you about supporting women. Because obviously, like you said, we talked about, there are some men who are intimidated by women being leaders when they are in relationships with someone, so to speak. Some people can't handle that the woman is in the forefront and doing different things. Uh, so it's not a male bashing thing, but it's just it's a perspective in
Mm-hmm.
regards to what's going on, and women are out there now, as they say, doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of women making things happen in life,
Mm-hmm.
and making things happen, for themselves, for their families, uh, and just for the man to know that if this is the type of woman that he has, that learning how to cultivate and support her, and knowing that it doesn't always have to be a come from you, so to speak. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times that's why you're put together in relationships. Like I said, doesn't mean that it's in a marriage or whatever it is, but because you're connected, because you can work it together. She
Mm-hmm.
might be the forefront of it, but does that matter? Should that really matter to the man on if the woman was given, a vision, and to have an idea and to make something happen versus, him being intimidated because, oh, okay, well, you don't like it because you feel like you're not controlling it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it
Because how
wasn't
often
their
does that
idea.
happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because how
Yeah,
often does that happen that, a man wants to be in control?
it happens pretty often. I mean, because they come into it like that. They come into it already wanting to be in control. They come into it already wanting the woman to be submissive to them. They come into it not even wanting the woman to have a voice. I mean, it's okay to have an opinion, but not a real voice. It's okay to have an idea, but not a real movement. It's okay for you to stand beside me but not be in front of me or not be at the forefront. I mean, that's just how it is. And I say that because, again, the few that are willing to grasp that, if you have a strong woman like that and she's out in the forefront, let her do that, and you do the best you can to stand beside her and help lift her up. Don't, and some will pretend to do it outwardly, but then at home, that will even change. They'll come home, and now it's a different vibe at home than it is as opposed to being in front of others out in the public. So I mean, it's just a power struggle. Now let me say this, because I've seen it from both sides. There's
Mm-hmm.
also strong women who are unbearable too. Sometimes, let's just be real. I just want to be real with everybody about it from both sides of it. And sometimes when you catch a woman that's like that, that's real domineering, or has that type of spirit in them, they can be worse than the men are, you know. But again, for, you know, staying on topic, and you
Right.
know, I just think that a person should support. If you have, if I see that kind of talent in you, I don't care that you're a woman. I'm going to get behind you. If that's where I belong, is behind you to support you, then that's what I'll do. You know, I just happen to be a leader, you know, but I listen too,
Right.
and I know how to fall back when it's like I say, my girl is headstrong, highly opinionated. I mean, I mean, she has her own thoughts, she has her own views, she has her own outlook. And I told her, you know, we've been knowing each other since we were 7 years old. So there's nothing that me and her can say or do to each other that, you know, I mean, we've been,
Right. Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
again, I like who she's become, who she's still becoming, you know, and I sit and I
Yeah.
watch. I don't cramp her style. I don't interfere with. I sit back. I applaud her efforts. I applaud her moves. She's got a big following. You know, close to 400,000 people. We've been all everywhere we go. They're screaming at her, and they're coming. Little kids are coming up to her, and I stand there, and I just stand there and let her do her thing. And I'm still
Absolutely.
her man after we leave and walk off, you know, and that's it, you know.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. It
there's,
doesn't change. Yeah.
and then it happens with her too, you know, when we're somewhere else, and then it may be more about me than it is about her, you know, and we just feed off each other's energy like that, and that's how
Yes.
we do it, you know, because
Yeah.
we knew each other
Absolutely.
when we were little kids. So I mean, that's just what
Yeah.
it is, me and her.
Absolutely. So, I know we talked about how this came about because of, you've been raised, by single parent, your mom, your aunts, and grandmothers, and things like that. Talk about how their strength just, really inspired you, how that opened the door, for this.
Okay, well, you know, when we were growing up, you know, my mom, you know, she had me and my brother, and we watched her. We watched her fight. We watched her scrap. We watched her struggle. We watched her work hard. We watched, you know, and without any real payoff, so to speak. You know, she made a living. You know, so it wasn't about. I had the what do you call you? You've read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I've had I had the rich mom, poor mom type thing. You know, a friend of mine that we went to school with, her mom taught me all of the upper echelon side of life, as opposed to my mom. We were poor, so she taught me from that side of life. So I got it from both sides. But my mom and my grandmother, they saw how I was potentially going to turn out as a man. You know, you can't call that, but
Right.
I got a lot of advice from her. I learned how to cook. I ended up going to culinary school afterwards, but I learned how to cook from my mom and my grandma. They used to let me stand in the kitchen, you know, and watch it and say, you're probably going to be single for the rest of your life, so you better know how to cook. You know, it's just all you know, it's just
Right.
different. All of those moments came from women because there was no male figures around us, you know, so to speak. And so you know, that's where it started, okay? And throughout life, the very important things that I learned. See, I'm a workaholic. I'm a business guy. So all of those came from all of those moments came from women. That, you know, they taught me how to deal with it on this level, how to deal with it on this level, how to deal with it on this level. You know, and so all of that came from women, and I wouldn't change it. That's where it came from. You know, I'm not mad about it. And I learned from women, you know, while being a man, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's where it came from. It's not popular. Nobody wants to say that, oh, a woman inspired me or this or that, but that's how it came to me. And still to this day, it's women that's inspiring me. That's how it came. I mean, it's male figures out there that I look and I say, wow, this is how he did this, is how he did this. But I know that it's much harder for women in that position. So I'm more wild and inspired by that than I am about the man, because she probably didn't have the opportunity that he had. So that's what inspires me.
Right, because it's going to be harder because I am a woman, so it's going to be more difficult for me to do what a man does
Yes.
because it's already the odds are already up against me, and
Hmm.
so a man is not going to want to see me do
Hmm.
certain things because nine times out of ten, you know, it's going to bruise his ego, so to speak,
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
some men.
Hmm.
That's just life, uh,
For most men.
unfortunately. And
Yeah.
and so when we think about that, and I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and just my perspective doesn't make it right, but it's my perspective. So I think that for some men, it bruises their ego because there are underlying issues that they haven't dealt with. So for some men, and in our community and in our age group, it's taboo for men to seek counseling, so to speak. Because some people think it's BS or whatever. Now, again, my perspective. Uh, God has given those counselors, those people, the knowledge to be able to help us as a whole to be able to navigate through things that we normally would not be able to navigate properly, or even successfully if without their assistance.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on in our age group and our generation, men dealing with going to talk to somebody because instead of dealing with the issue that's on the surface that people can see, but people who really know know that there's something else, that's not the root of the problem.
Hmm. We don't. My thing on that is the issue with that, and why we have a problem with it is because we don't want anybody else to tell us what's wrong with us. We think
What,
that.
hold on. Say that for the people in the back.
Yeah, yeah. We
Say
don't
that
want
for the
to.
people in the
Yeah, we don't want anybody telling us, because really we don't think there's nothing wrong anyway, and that's because we're deceiving ourselves. Instead of addressing the issues, we don't want to believe that we even have the issues in the first place, and especially if we have to go get a therapist or somebody like that to tell us what's wrong with us. And so I think, to me, everybody thinks for how they want to think. I think even that, like you just say, God puts people in certain places for certain things. If it's a therapist, if it's me, now let me be even more clear, especially us black people. After we don't, therapy wasn't a thing that we had, that wasn't a luxury to us when we were coming up. We didn't have a therapist. We didn't have anybody.
correct.
Our mom and our grandmother was the therapist, or the belt was
Yeah,
the therapist, or whatever was the therapist, but we didn't have that luxury, that resource. So now that it's being made available, we still don't want to do that. We don't want to go to therapy. We don't want to go to couples therapy. We don't want to go to any of that. We think that we can work it out. We have the answers. That's why we don't embrace that. We think that we can figure that out, or that we have it figured out, when really we're still at the starting gate in a lot of areas. We won't admit it, but we are.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we're at the starting game. Well, you know what? even though we're at the starting game in some aspects, of our life, obviously, we have things to happen and transpire and get us to the place, where we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to be doing. Uh, so happy for you in all that you're doing with I'm Every Woman, standing for women, supporting women who are trying to do something and make a difference in life. And, and knowing that that looks different for everybody.
Sure.
Uh, and that's what's so amazing is that God has designed us all to be different. There's no one, there's not a replica. There's not another Patrick out there. There's not another Michelle out there. There's not another Roslyn. And thanks be to God for that. Hey, even though some people might, some people might feel, might feel different. Some people might be like, hey, need to be another one. And some people be like, nah, we
Yeah.
can't handle another one. But to each his own, right? But
Right.
I do see that you will be all over with I'm Every Woman because I think it is so important. I think it's awesome that you are supporting women and doing their thing in life. And at the end of the day, everybody has an opinion, but
Yeah.
only what God says is what matters, right?
That's it. That's it. He
Uh,
ordered the steps.
yeah, yeah. So, so we're just again. I'm so happy that you decided to share your story with us. Definitely, your information has been going along on the banner on the screen so that people can reach out to you, so that they can support your movement, support the cause. In regards to that, hey, who knows? It might be someone that else that needs to be featured. On your monthly star treatment.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what you call it,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, even for as your, going to your, for as your products and things like that. Uh,
Mhm. Yeah.
Again, like I say, we definitely, we support you. We appreciate you, all that you're doing, and of course, my friend, because that's how I know you. Is through my dear friend Michelle Smith, the Purple Penny Pincher. Me and
Sure.
Michelle go way, way. We go way back. We go way
Yes.
back.
Yes. Yes.
And it's one of those situations where people, you have friends, and even though you don't talk every day, but when you talk, it's just like, hey, girl, you don't miss a beat.
Right.
And those are true friendships. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
You
She
know.
speaks highly of you, and from the moment that she told me about you, then I see you and I see what you're doing. And like I say, I think you're fantastic. We're preparing a gift set for you. We'll make sure you get
Oh,
that. Oh, sure, because
thank
you
you,
are every woman. Yes, you are. So I mean,
thank
I
you.
just really appreciate you, your gift, and I just hope you just keep giving that gift. I love it. You know,
Yeah, thank you so
very
thank you
proud.
so much. I don't do this because it was something I chose to do. This was something that for those people who don't know how Dear Life After arrived, this is actually something that God gave me on my journey in prison. So this is not something
Mm-hmm.
that I woke up and said, "Oh, this is something I want to do." It's not. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that He had me to do to be able to make a difference in somebody else's life. So at some point in time, even if there's one person whose life is affected and they're inspired, or it makes them have a different perspective to know that regardless of whatever it is that you go through in life, that God is with you. Uh, He promised He wouldn't leave us, and so people think that they're alone in what they go through, and so we have to encourage people and let them know that regardless of what they go through, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, everybody's journey along life is different. That there is a after, there is
Mm-hmm.
an after, there is another side, So even in the
Yes.
rain, if you learn to just dance in the rain, to know that there is a rainbow coming, there's a
Yes.
rainbow, there's a rainbow, and that God has so much, for us, and He gives us free will. So often we make decisions and choices along the way that He didn't choose or want for us, but He'll still see us through them, so that we
Hmm.
can get to that after, so that we can get to that place that He would have us to be in life. And so
Yes.
that's why I'm here on Saturdays. And so that's why I will continue to push. So even in spite of the trials and things uh, that I fight through, sometimes on a daily basis, but it's okay, because at
Hmm.
the end of the day, it's not about me. It's all about Him. Uh,
Amen.
and that's all that I need somebody to know, is that it's not about Roslyn,
Hmm.
because Roslyn would not exist or would not be who she is, or would not have this smile, would not have this joy, without me. So in spite of whatever it is that I go through, have gone through, or am going,
Hmm.
I will always, because at the end of the day, He's gonna make it okay. And so that
Absolutely.
so that that is dear life after. So
Yes.
we thank you all so much for joining us. We love you. We thank you for your support. And please reach out to Mr. Wallace. Support I Am Every Woman, the Star Treatment. Check out his line of products and things like that. Um, and we're going to be talking to men this month, all month. So next week we have another special guest. But again, thank you so much. I know you could be doing something else, but as I always say, make it a great day on purpose.